All right, I'm back with another one, and it looks like we come to the end of an era of a great Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul universe, and season 6, episode 13, and it doesn't look like they gave a description on IMDb for this episode. But did we really need a description? I mean, it was done well. It was done. They just did a good job, and everything was just the attention to detail. I'm gonna give you an example. If you remember the first episode of this season, where they opened up the very beginning, they opened up the people cleaning out Saul's mansion, and in and part of that scene, one of the workers took the Saul Goodman cutout and put it in the dumpster. And if you remember in this episode, where did Saul get captured? He was in a dumpster trying to call the Hoover vacuum guy. And so that just goes to show you how this show really goes and pays how much of attention to detail this show does, you know, you know, and also, if you pay attention to detail, the H.G. Wells book in that very first episode when they were cleaning out Saul's mansion, the H.G. Wells, the Time Machine book by H.G. Wells was one of the books that they focus on sitting on Saul's counter. And that's the book that we saw in the throwback scene when Saul was talking to his big brother Chuck, H.G. Wells' Time Machine. So that was a book that belonged to Chuck, his older brother. And that goes along with the whole H.G. Wells Time Machine thing. It goes along with um it goes along with basically the whole notion of the question that Saul kept asking about what would you do if you had a time machine. Remember, he asked Mike that, and Mike talked about he would go back and go back to the time when he took his first bribe as a policeman. And Saul talked about how he would go invest in when they were in the desert. Saul said he would go invest in Berkshire Hathaway, in 1960, Warren Buffett's company. And and that's when Mike said it's all about money with you. But I don't think it's about money. I think Saul just uses that money to mask the pain that he has from losing Kim and causing his brother to commit suicide. I think that's what's going on with Saul. But Saul he wasn't telling the truth. I don't think it really was about money. He probably wish he could go back in time and not cancel the insurance of Chuck, not cancel Chuck's insurance. And then there was another time when when Saul and Walter White they was getting ready to be shipped off by the hover vacuum guy. And Saul asked him again about that time machine thing, and Walter White, being the jerk that he is, he said that kind of thing could never happen. It'll break the second law of physics or whatever, some scientific stuff. And he said, let's just get to what you really want to talk about. You're talking about regret, and and so yeah, so that's very good attention to detail. The whole H.G. Wells Time Machine thing, that's good. And I'm gonna tell you, man. I guess we got to see Kim. At the end of the day, Kim gets to roll off in the sunset and be all right and be safe. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that's fair. I mean, I get what what Saul made his decision to do and go to jail, but I don't know. I think my thing is that Kim going to tell Howard's widow, blowing the whistle about Howard Hamlin and all that. I don't think that's one of them things where she could try to say she was trying to do the right thing, but I think that was a selfish move in itself, because she did that move just to clear her conscience. That's what that was all about. She just wanted to clear her conscience and, blow up, put everybody else in jeopardy. Well, a lot of people had died at that point. Gus and Mike and all of them had died, but still, man, the people that you're putting in jeopardy, she could have, she really, at that point, if you didn't win some years and 6 years and you didn't kept it to yourself, you might as well take it to your grave. I just didn't. I just thought that she put everybody in danger just to clear her conscience, and I think that was a selfish move. And it was nice to see old Saul Goodman when he had them down to 7 years. He ain't had to do all. He had them down to just doing 7 years, man. And leave it to him. The downfall of many men. They let a woman be the downfall, unfortunately. And Saul, in the last minute, he wanted to sacrifice himself for Kim. So I guess it's like a love story, ain't it? In the end, he just wanted to sacrifice himself for Kim, just like he tried to sacrifice himself when Lalo came to their apartment. So, you know, 86 years, Saul said, there is a chance at good behavior, but that's just his sense of humor. And he ends up in jail. He ends up in prison, and he ends up baking bread in the oven just like he was at Cinnabon. So the funny thing is, he ended up in the kitchen baking bread no matter what. And I guess you could say he's the manager of the kitchen, because everybody they hail him as a god up in the prison. They were chanting his name on the bus, Saul Goodman. So I guess that goes to show that he'll be treated well in prison, I guess. But I would have been okay with him serving 7 years. That would have been an okay ending. But I think ultimately it was more than the thinking about why the writers might have did that with Saul. They might have had him turn good at the end, because I think ultimately this story isn't just about saving Kim. I think Saul, in the end, just wanted to absolve himself. And I think for once in his life, Saul he did the right thing. He did, quote unquote, the right thing. And that's what that was about. It was about him absolving himself, doing the right thing. But he really didn't do the right thing, because he admitted to stuff that he didn't do. He wasn't behind the crime empire of Walter White. He wasn't. I mean, he didn't build the crime empire of Walter White. He might have assisted. To be honest with you, I think 7 years was a good sentence for him, considering his role that he played in the Walter White empire and Gus. But Saul, he just played a side role. He was a accomplice. He didn't really build that stuff. So really, 7 years was a kind of a just sentence. He didn't kill Hank. No matter how much they want to try to blame him with that, he didn't kill Hank. So Saul, really, at what he admitted to too much. He really overdid it and overpunished himself. But, I'm okay with the ending. All that bad that he did, he got to pay for it in some kind of way. And I think Kim got off pretty easy, but that's the way the writers wanted to do it. I can live with it. We still got 6 seasons of a great show. Nothing will change that. This show will go down in the pantheon of great shows. And this show was already up against the wall and from the beginning, because it was the prequel / sequel of one of the greatest shows ever, Breaking Bad. And to see Vince Gulli and Peter Gould, I mean, not only did they meet expectations of following a show like Breaking Bad, but I think in a lot of cases they exceeded expectations. So I mean, hats off to them, Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan. And this won't be the last that you will see of I think on AMC they got two new shows coming out next year. One with what's the name of the guy that plays Gus? He's gonna have his own show, and then Bob Odenkirk, he's gonna have another show. So we'll be seeing them, but those shows aren't gonna be as good as Better Call Saul. And I think Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, I think they got a show, the Vampire Show, that's coming out in October in a couple of months. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I might check out that Vampire Show. Let me know in the comments if you're gonna check it out. But it's been a great this watching this show has been very entertaining, and I'm thankful for the entertainment. It's something good to watch, to give you something to watch and take your mind off things and unwind and enjoy it and enjoy a great show. And if you still watching, you're a real one, and I appreciate you watching. And hit that like button and hit the type something in the comments and let me know what you think about Better Call Saul, or what's your favorite scene, or what's your favorite Better Call Saul moment. Because I'm gonna tell you, not only did they meet expectations, I think they might have exceeded expectations. This show might be better than Breaking Bad. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. Is this show better than Breaking Bad? I think it might be. I think it might be. It's certainly as good as Breaking Bad. But hit the comments, like, subscribe, and until next time.